Welcome to Body Hack and Build a Better You, the podcast where we unlock the secret to living a longer, healthier life and create a bloom zone in our life and within our family. I'm your host, Michaela Morell, and I'm here to provide you with the tools and knowledge to empower you to build a better you, one essential building block at a time. Hello from sunny Phoenix. In today's episode, we're diving into the heated debate about sun exposure and skin cancer. Studies show that malignant melanoma is not more common on sun-exposed areas than on those covered by clothing. Which raises the question, is the sun really the problem? Some argue that sunscreen itself might be the contributing factor, and today I'll share fascinating new data and graphs that are worth looking at. Plus, we'll explore how diet affects sunburn. I want to remind you that this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Read the disclaimer in the show notes, and I want to remind you to always consult your healthcare provider if you plan to make any dietary changes. Hi guys, today I am sitting here outside in Phoenix, Arizona. It's January, and I am sitting on the ground and grounding in the grass, and behind me I hear birds singing, and I have some pool water behind me and lemon trees around me, and it's just a beautiful day with some clouds on the sky. So the sun is coming in and out, and I'm just enjoying getting some more sun. I have moved to Norway and we don't get to see the sun that often, and I start to get paler and paler. And I just need the sun to recharge myself. And yeah, and with that being said, we're going to talk about the sun and sun exposure today because I saw a post on Instagram, and this health warrior, if I can call her that, she's fighting for people to get more knowledge about nutrition and health. She had posted a post about how the amount of people getting skin cancer that started to increase when we started using sunscreen. And a lot of people, of course, can see statistics and graphs and thinking that, yeah, that's pretty logical. And it is logical, the sunscreen we're putting on our skin is not very good and our body needs the sun. But why is it so problematic to have sun in our lives? And to be honest, it's not problematic if you're living a healthy lifestyle. But for most people today, we are not living a healthy lifestyle. So we're increasing our risk to develop skin cancer. And that has nothing to do with the sun itself. We need the sun. The sun gives us energy. And if you see me on YouTube now, I'm sitting here on the ground and ready to go and play pickleball afterwards. And I'm just enjoying the good weather we have here. So let's have a conversation around the skin cancer and actually what we're putting on our skin and why are we taught that we need to put nasty stuff on our skin that is not natural, not organic. It's usually very toxic when we're reading into one-on-one label. So I'm not going to go too deep into this. There are so many blog posts about this if you just go out and do some research. But I wanted to do a quick episode today just to plant a seed in your mind that maybe what we have been told about the sun is not the truth. Maybe what we have been told about sunscreen is not the truth. And maybe give you a couple of tips on what you can do instead. So I have never used sunscreen on my kids. And I have not been using sunscreen on my own skin for many, many years, except for a few times. But I'm going to come into those times, like when I do put on sunscreen. But looking at the graphs, when we started implementing sunscreen into our lives, and you can just do a quick Google and look at the graph. And then when you look at the graph of how many people are struggling with skin cancer today, you will see that both graphs look very similar. But I also want to introduce two more graphs into your life. And if you just go and Google sugar consumption, and graphs, and you'll be able to see a graph over how much sugar we're eating today and the statistics and the history around sugar intake. And then also Google vegetable oil consumption graph. And then you will have another graph there too. And it's fascinating because the more sugar, the more vegetable oils we have been eating, and the more sunscreen we have been putting on our body, the more skin cancer we have developed. So if the sun was really the cause for us developing skin cancer, wouldn't the graph over how many that have been struggling with skin cancer be pretty stable? And wouldn't it even go down a little bit if sunscreen did help us? Right? It would. But the facts are it doesn't. And the facts are that the more sugar and vegetable oils we have been eating, the more health issues we can see on all different types of conditions. It's not just skin cancer. It's how many people are developing diabetes today. It's all different kinds of cancers. And it is cardiovascular disease. And there are so many graphs when you're looking at them that it's just skyrocketing. But like I said, today we're going to focus on the sun because I'm sitting here and enjoying it. So I would encourage you to go out and do some digging, go down the rabbit hole of sunscreen, and then understand that maybe what we have been told is not benefiting us. And who would benefit from that? Without naming any names, we know that there is a big industry that earns a lot of money if we're getting sicker. We also know there are a lot of companies out there that are earning a lot of money if we keep on buying the sunscreen. And it has short expiration date. We have to throw it away. We have to buy new. It's pretty pricey, I would say. Every time you go somewhere, it's like pretty pricey to buy it. And usually the bottles are too big. You usually buy it on a resort and it's expensive. But what can you do if you're prone to develop skin cancer, or if you're just afraid of it? What can we do? Well, first of all, I would encourage everyone to take away all the vegetable oils. Just remove them from your diet. There is nothing to discuss here. You don't need them. There are so many other things that are tasting better than vegetable oil. So just remove all the vegetable oils that you find in processed foods, in what you're cooking with, or yeah, look over your eating habits and just remove vegetable oils. That one is so easy to do. Eat butter instead. Eat extra virgin olive oil. Eat coconut oil. Okay, then sugar intake. That can be a little bit trickier for people because sugar is very addicting. So, but I would encourage you to reduce the sugar intake. Because when we're going on vacation, we're laying there on the beach, most people are not just laying there in the sun. Most people are eating salty chips that are filled with vegetable oils. They're also drinking a margarita that is filled with sugar and alcohol that is fermented in the gut to feed the bad gut bacteria. There is fries, there is sandwiches, there are so many things that we have a habit of eating when we are going to the beach that is more likely to have a bigger relationship to if you're developing anything or not. It's fascinating because I have been in a lot of different communities when we're looking at how well people are handling the sun, who get burned, who can handle more sun, and so on. And most people in the carnivore community, they very often have been a vegan prior. And it's fascinating because every one of them is saying, when I was a vegan, I burned very easily. Now, when I'm a carnivore, I can handle the sun a lot better. And the reason for that is because if you're a vegan, you're building up your cell membranes with different types of fats than you're doing if you're eating a lot of animal fats. And the fat from the vegetables, they're usually omega-6s. They are more prone for damage. They're not handling the sun as good. But the fat from the animal kingdom, it's more stable, it oxidizes less, and it's less toxic when it reaches a high smoking point. So just think about it. Isn't it fascinating? And I would encourage you, join a carnivore group and just ask the question, hey, who of you have been vegan? Who of you have been thinking about if you get more easily sunburned when you're a vegan versus a carnivore? And I bet that you will have lots of feedback. And I bet you that there will be multiple people answering this question for you and telling about their journey and how they today can be out in the sun and they hardly don't get sunburned. Yep. Okay. So, what shall you do if you have kids then? Well, avoid being out in the sun when the sun is the strongest. That is the best advice. Be out in the mornings, be out in the afternoons, and just avoid the time when it's like the sun is just so hot that you will get the sunburn. When we are looking at what can we do to then sunbathe in a safe way? Well, just understand that when you're getting red, that's a signal that you have had enough of sun. But a lot of people are not even outside until they are getting red. And so many people are slamming sunscreen on their body that we can't get the sun on our skin that we need. Our cells need the sun. The plants need the sun. And we are also in need of the sun for having a functional cell health and having a body that is able to work and function as good as possible. Yeah, of course, we have vitamin D, we can eat a supplementation, but the best thing is to get it through the sun. And there are so many other good things that are happening when we're out in the sun, especially if we're touching the ground at the same time and we're grounding instead of being cooped up inside of a house and office working all day. There are so many other aspects of getting out in the nature as well. But the sun is so important for us. Anyway, but if we're worried, just have a sun shirt and a hat on when it's the hottest. Say if you're on vacation, for example, it can be hard to avoid the sun during the hottest hours and just get dressed a little bit. That's the easiest way. And then just make sure that you're exposing the skin to the sun in the mornings and in the afternoons. That is the best way of doing it. And that's what I've been doing with my kids too. And if we're out on vacation, for example, we went to Thailand when my son was a year and a half, my oldest one. And what we did then is we were out in the sun on the beach in the mornings, and then we made him fall asleep in the stroller walking. And when he was asleep, we walked into a massage place and we got a couples massage like every day when it was the hottest. And our kid would be sleeping in the stroller next to us. And then after he was done napping, we would go out in the sun again. So, and now when the kids are older, we usually go for a little bit of a shopping or we go and have a longer restaurant visit during the hours when it's like the hottest. And that way we can be out in the sun for a longer period of time, safe. When we were living in Phoenix, Arizona for 3.5 years, my kids never used sunscreen. They don't need it. And, but I did, however, use some natural things like coconut oil and raspberry seed oil. Those have a natural sunscreen ability, kind of, but it's not taking it away. It's just helping to protect it a little bit, your skin a little bit. And it's also good for your skin. Keep it moist and nice. So there are a few options out there that have a natural ability to protect us against the sun. So I would encourage you, and there are so much data out there. You can just type in the raspberry seed oil and see how much it is able to help your skin to protect it against the sun. Well, I was just going to do a very short episode today, but I thought that this conversation was an important one to have and that you can maybe start digging a little bit about it yourself and head over to Instagram and tell me what your thoughts are. I hope you guys are having a fantastic week and that you are able to catch some sun wherever you are. See you guys later. Bye-bye. Hey guys, if you enjoyed today's episode, I encourage you to do one thing for me. Think of one person you want to share this podcast with and copy the link and send it right away. Thanks for playing an important role in the Blue Zone community. And if you want to keep on building a better you, one essential building block at a time, hit that subscribe button. See you in the next episode.